Hey, survivors. I'm so pumped that you're here. I know that it could seem a little weird that I get like super pumped about these, but I do. And I know that on the outside looking in, we're talking about domestic violence. We're talking about sexual assault. We're talking about doom and gloom type stuff, right? But that's not what this is truly about, and that's what pumps me up. So I'm just glad that you're here because this is about surviving. This is about moving forward. This is about learning and about opening the conversation. One thing you'll never hear from me is that I know it all, because I don't. Damn, I do not know it all. But the little that I know I want to share, and then I hope it opens the conversation. It starts it so that you are here with me, teaching me as well. I've got just as much to learn as I've got to dish out to you guys. So I love this relationship. I love the fact that we're talking about this. And let's get moving forward. I know I move my hands a lot. It's me. It's just the way I am. I'll try. See, I don't know what to do with my hands. Let's keep going. What consent actually is, what culture turned it into, and what we, especially men, can do to fix it or to begin to fix it. This is Walk With Me. All right, we came in hot. Let's continue. Let's keep going. Let's keep moving forward. What consent actually is and how culture has kind of twisted it. And I say kind of twisted it. I should probably just say it twisted it, right? Making consent more difficult than it is, more complicated than it is really why we've gotten to this point. Because it really has never been super complicated. But we're going to get into how society made that more complicated, made consent more complicated than it really is. All consent is clear, ongoing, freely given, reversible, enthusiastic. That's consent. Those are the forms consent comes in. It comes in clear, it's ongoing, it's freely given, it's most definitely reversible, and it's most definitely enthusiastic. We'll dive into that because that's it. It's not silent. It's not an assumption. It's not owed. Okay? It's not negotiated under pressure. But culture didn't teach us that. Culture taught men like me that if she doesn't say no, it's fine. If she came over, she's interested. If you've done it before, okay, in the past, you don't have to ask again. If you're in a relationship, it's implied. And if she changes her mind, man, that's just her being dramatic. That's just them being dramatic. Okay? And I know you guys, the first thing you guys are going to think of is, really, we got to do this whole freaking, are you, okay with this? Or do you want to have sex? Yes, bitch. Yes. Yes, we do. Can we do it in a way that doesn't mess up the mood? If the mood is right, nothing is going to mess it up. Those ideas are not misunderstandings. This is where we need to be sharp. They're not misunderstandings. Those things that I just mentioned about what culture taught us are entitlements. Entitlements that we've gotten used to. Unfortunately, entitlement is the root of what? Scream it out. Sexual violence. It is. So let me talk directly to men real quick. Men, listen carefully. If you've ever felt irritated when someone pulled away, if you've ever thought, we were already in it, okay? If you've ever rolled your eyes at enthusiastic consent, what I just named in the beginning, when I was naming that stuff in the beginning, if you rolled your eyes, that discomfort that you have is conditioning. Don't let anybody tell you differently. I swear to you, it's conditioning. I was conditioned that way. Okay? I had those thoughts before. It's not hard to believe because the majority of us were conditioned that way. We were likely taught that masculinity equals pursuit. No means maybe. Not now means in a couple seconds. You know, that dominance equals confidence. That stopping when asked to stop is a sign of weakness. That is what we were taught. Real strength will pause. Real strength will ask. Real strength will adjust. Guys, consent isn't about proving something. It isn't. It's about you protecting something. And here is something we don't say often enough. You don't lose power by asking. You don't kill the mood by asking. And if you do, you struck out. Move on. It wasn't the right person. But I swear to God, 9 times out of 10, you gain trust. That shit is hot. Don't believe me. I'm not speaking out of my ass. These are tried and true. Give it a shot. The hell do I know, right? How did everyone allow these myths that we just discussed to survive? Let's widen the lens just a little bit, okay? Women are policed for shit like what they wear, you know? Friends laugh off, he just gets handsy when he drinks. What? That's creepy as shit. As I name these, as I'm talking about this, it's gross. But we're going to get through this. Parents tell daughters to be careful instead of telling sons to be accountable. Guilty. I've done it before. This is how culture protects abuse. Not through monsters, through normalization. Okay? When we excuse the small violations, we create space for bigger ones. We get closer or bigger and bigger. We test the boundaries, don't we? Consent did not become confusing overnight or by accident, okay? It became confusing because clarity threatens entitlement. It makes you uncomfortable. Was that a yes or was that a maybe? We don't know. We're uncomfortable. Fucking leave. Stop. Sit. Okay? Now, how does everyone allow myths to survive? Let's expand on this some more. When I say we tell our daughters to be careful instead of teaching sons to be accountable, I'm not saying we shouldn't teach our daughters safety. Let me be very clear there. I have a daughter. I so happen to also have a son. Of course, I'm going to tell both of them to be fucking careful. And before you judge me on my parenting, yeah, I do say be fucking careful. They listen to that a lot better than be careful. Okay? That's just my approach. But that's not the issue. We all do this. We all tell our children, boy or girl, be careful. The issue is this. Are we teaching them, boy, girl, the same thing? Right? Because when we tell our daughters be careful, what do we mean? Instinctually, we mean watch your drink. Don't walk alone at night. Text me when you get there. Don't let someone pressure you. You are goddamn right. All are valid. In today's world, all are valid. All are protective. All necessary, again, in the world we currently live in. But when we tell our sons to be careful, what are we actually saying? Are we actually saying, hey, man, be careful not to misread someone's body language, bruh? Be careful not to assume silence equals consent. Are we teaching them to not use strength or social power to override someone's comfort? That's super specific, isn't it? And do they truly understand the sacredness of someone else's autonomy? Are we actually saying that? I hope so, but chances are not. Chances are we're just saying, don't get in trouble, bro. Don't ruin your future. Don't catch a charge, right? That's what we're telling our boys. Those are two very different conversations. One is about protecting your future. The other is about protecting someone else's humanity. That shift actually does matter. Speaking myself as a father, I don't just want my daughter to be safe. I want her to know her worth so fucking deeply that the first time someone crosses a boundary, her body says, hell to the no. Absolutely fucking not. That kind of safety doesn't come from fear. It comes from identity, self-worth, understanding. Teaching your daughters their worth means they don't owe anyone their body. Being nice is not more important than being safe. I know you've seen those TikToks and shit, and a dude's walking in the park and waves and smiles at a girl, and she just side-eyes his ass and moves on, and he's butthurt about that shit. Okay? That's entitlement. Nobody owes you a hi, hello. Is it nice, kind? Sure. But you ain't got to do it. That is not required. Teaching sons, however, teaching sons accountability means something different. It means desire does not equal entitlement. Silence does not equal permission. Physical strength does not equal authority. And if someone hesitates or freezes or says maybe, you fucking stop. You wait. That's not anti-male. It's pro-human. Fuck. That's it. That's all that is. So where is the cultural imbalance here? The myth survives because we built an entire culture around managing girls' behavior instead of reshaping boys' responsibility. We lock doors. We share locations. We carry keys between our fingers. But we rarely say to the boys early enough and often enough, your job is not to conquer. Your job is to give a damn. Here's a deeper layer in that, right? Most boys were never taught consent language. It's true. I know I wasn't. Raise your hand if you were. You in the back, you're lying ass. Okay? Most men were never taught emotional literacy. It's weakness. Emotion is weak, right? Most fathers were never modeled healthy masculinity. You can put me on that damn list. Or my father on that list. No blame. So while I am not into pointing fingers right now, I am in the business of breaking cycles. That's who I am. And I'd love for you to join me in that mission because it's not that hard. This part is not that hard. It's not that complicated. And it's something that we can change in our society one step at a time, one child at a time, one boy at a time, one message at a time. The important balance. This isn't about raising sons as villains, okay? Because When you don't do any of this stuff, you're not intentionally trying to raise, the serial rapist or the abusive father/husband or the pedophile. You're not trying to raise that person. Okay. I want to make that very clear. However, it's about raising sons who understand their power or power in itself. Just because we don't mean to do it doesn't mean it won't happen. Because whether we like it or not, boys will grow into men most of the time. Those men will statistically have more physical strength, more social leverage, and often more systemic protection. So accountability isn't punishment. We are preparing them. Okay? We are teaching daughters their worth and that their worth is not fragility training. You are not fragile beings, ladies. Okay? It's empowerment training. Both matter and both are love. So how do we practice consent in real life? How do we practice this shit that you're talking about, David? Before we go any further, let me ground this. The framework I'm about to walk you through is not something I made up. I don't do that shit. I don't like making things up. It aligns literally with standards. Okay? Standards taught by organizations like RAINN. And if you've never heard of RAINN, you should look them up. Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network. They are amazing. And they have a ton of content on their websites, things to learn about many topics. There's the National Sexual Violence Resource Center, campus consent education programs all over the United States. This comes from trauma-informed therapists and sexual health educators. And here's a cool one, the Fries. I like fries. Do you like fries? There's called the Fries consent model, okay? Fries, freely given, reversible, informed, enthusiastic, and the S is specific. That's a really important consent model that is used a lot. Across the board, professionals agree on this shit. Consent must be clear, ongoing, freely given, and revocable at any time. So, what we're going to do is translate that into real life behavior. Let's discuss 5 steps. 5 steps found to be effective ways we can practice consent in real life. I know you're into this. I know you're doubting it, but some of you are like, I don't know why. I'm into this. Let's get into it. Step number 1, shift from can I to do you want to? That was easy. This isn't semantics. It's psychology. Well, can I, do you want to? Same shit. No, it's psychology. Can I centers your permission. Do you want to centers their desires. I want to hear the shit about, well, when I asked my wife, what do you want for dinner? That's a completely different subject. Maybe not. I'll do a podcast about that particular subject because I feel you there. However, that's not what we're talking about. Sex, dinner, 2 different things. Okay? Can I centers around your permission? Do you want to centers their desires? Make sense? Professionals emphasize enthusiastic consent because participation isn't the goal. Desire is. Wow, that's mind-boggling, isn't it? We're not trying to get them to reconsider and please, baby, please. We want them to have that desire. And if they don't, move the fuck on. If someone says, okay, I guess, sure, with any hesitation, for any other subject, you're like, never mind, it's fine, right? But with sex, you're like, cool, it's it, and we're in, that's it, we're good. Really? That's not enthusiasm, y'all. That is not enthusiasm, okay? Real world clarity, 2025, I guess we're in 2026, looks like this. I want this. Yes, that word. It's hard, right? It's a difficult word to understand, you need to hear, but it's only 3 letters. It's yes. How about that feels good? You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about? That feels good. If you don't hear clarity or enthusiasm, you pause. That's it. Here's the deeper piece. You want to get deeper? If you're afraid to ask directly because you think it'll ruin the moment, that means, write this down. Guys, write this down. That means the moment wasn't safe enough to begin with. It was never there. I swear to God, it's true. Tried it. I tried it. It freaking works. It does not kill any mood. Safe intimacy doesn't collapse under communication, guys. Okay? It doesn't. It deepens because of it. It does. All right, step 2, normalize check-ins, especially in long-term relationships. Okay? One of the biggest myths I've heard, I've read, I've studied. We've been together for years. I don't need to ask. Why? Somebody give me a good explanation as to why that is even considered to be true. Spoiler alert, nothing you say will convince me. Because that is when it matters the most. Consent is ongoing, y'all. Professionals everywhere emphasize that consent is specific to each act, each moment, each circumstance. Bam! It is what it is. Why are you crying about it? Are you crying? There's no crying in sex. Well, I guess that's not always true, but you know what I mean. You saw the point that I was making. Someone can consent to kissing and not sex, to sex but not a specific act, or vice versa. Let's not get raunchy. To tonight but not tomorrow. Check-ins, guys. Check-ins can sound simple. You good? Or, baby, you good? Whew. You want to keep going? Or, baby, you want to keep going? See, when you add baby to it, sometimes it doesn't make you feel like you're, a professor checking in on a student. How about, do you want to slow down? These are simple things you can say. Let me be clear, okay? If someone stiffens, not the dude, watch your minds here. If someone stiffens or stops responding or goes quiet, turns away, it's done. Those are body signals. It's done. There are trauma-informed educators teaching that consent, listen to me, please. Consent is not just verbal. It includes reading nonverbal cues responsibility. And I can see it now. There's some of you that's going, well, how the hell am I supposed to know that? I just said it. And you know. And if you don't know, it's time to read up on that. There are books. If their body changes, you pause, right? You go back to the simple check-ins. You good? Do you want to slow down? Because continuing when someone goes quiet is not confidence, guys. It's negligence. Please understand that. Step 3, learn to respect maybe and ambivalence. Do you know what that means? Do you know what ambivalence? You know what maybe is? Ambivalence is basically just uncertainty or inconsistency or doubt. We have to learn to respect that. It's okay to respect things, right? It's okay to say, I don't know what this is, so I'm going to stop. Because this is where a lot of harm fucking happens. There are professionals that consistently say consent must be freely given, meaning free of pressure, guilt, obligation, fear, or emotional consequences. It must be freely given. A maybe often, not always, but often means I don't feel safe saying no. If somebody is saying maybe to you, there's two things you got to do here. You got to check yourself. Have I made her not feel safe? And then ask for consent again. Hey, you good with this? Don't say maybe. Assure them that a no is okay. It's okay to say no. I'm good with you saying no. Here's the part that men need to hear. If someone is agreeing to avoid disappointing you, it's not consent. That's compliance. Check yourself. Compliance born out of pressure is coercion. Real world example. If your partner says, I'm tired, I don't know, maybe later, the healthy move isn't persuasion here, guys. The move is space. And not angry space. Don't fucking pout. Do not fucking pout. It's just space. A secure response sounds like, no worries. We good? And you freaking mean it. That's healthy, man. And women will tell you that's hot. That's a man. This goes for everybody, though. Consent is consent. Didn't have to. I'm not just talking to men. There's some portions here that I talk to men because, damn it, we're guilty for the most part of having this wrong. Step number 4, check your reaction to no. We kind of talked about maybe, but now we're talking about no. And this is the real test. Every educator that talks about consent will tell you this. Your reaction to no reveals your relationship with power. Period. If your body tightens, if you feel rejected, I'm going to throw pouting. If you pull away emotionally, if you punish with silence. That's fucking ego, guys. And when ego meets intimacy, harm happens. A safe response is simple. Okay, cool, thanks for telling me. I appreciate your honesty. No guilt. No pressure. Stop fucking pouting. Don't change your tone. If your warmth disappears when access disappears, that's conditional affection, man. That's not love. And conditional affection is emotional coercion. Ooh, that's deep. And I know that sounds scary to some guys, to some people, period. But it's not. You move on. That's it. Step 5, understand that consent in relationship is never automatic. There are times where we don't communicate. It's heavy. It's hot. You are both into each other. There is an equal amount of enthusiasm when you're kissing and touching and stuff like that. I understand this stuff. I do. Okay. This may not fall into that automatic or not automatic category. We've all been in a situation like that. Those times happen at some point. But what I'm about to talk about is clearly supported by sexual assault law and every major advocacy organization in the United States, maybe in the world. Marriage does not equal permanent consent. Dating does not equal ownership. History does not equal entitlement because consent must exist every single time. That's it. And here's a deeper psychological truth. When someone feels they cannot say no without consequences, they are not in a consensual dynamic. They're in a controlled one, and that needs to be checked. It first needs to be identified, and then it needs to be checked. Here's the cultural myth breakdown. Let's stay here just for a minute. I'm going to break down some myths, some things that we have just really dropped the ball on, things that we've just allowed. Let's break them down clearly, because this is where culture hides, okay? Here's a myth. She didn't fight back. Trauma science, and we talked a little bit about this in an earlier podcast. It shows that freezing is one of the most common survival responses. It really is. There's fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. When someone freezes, their nervous system shuts down. Their nervous system shuts down movement for why? To survive. So when someone says she or he didn't fight, what they're really saying is, I don't understand trauma biology. Or I don't understand basic biology. Freezing is not permission. They're protecting themselves. So we let that shit go. Here's another myth. She didn't say no. He or she didn't say no. Silence is also not consent. Professionals are super clear on this, guys. Consent requires active participation. Do you remember the example I was talking about? It's getting hot and heavy. It's enthusiastic on both ends. Pay attention to it. If only one person is enthusiastic and the other person doesn't recognize that, you have to be open to understanding what is happening in a hot and heavy situation like that. You can tell if it's enthusiastic participation, and that's what consent requires. You know, survivors often don't say no because they're scared or shocked. It's confusing. They've learned in the past that resistance can lead to some type of escalation. Not saying no does not fucking mean yes. I know that may sound hard, guys, but it really isn't. It really isn't. Sometimes not saying no is just a form of survival. All right, here's another myth. They were dating. Dating increases vulnerability, yes? It does not eliminate assault. In fact, statistics consistently show that most sexual assaults are committed by someone the victim knows. Familiarity does not equal safety. Trust can be violated. And when it is, the shit cuts deep. It cuts very deep. All right? Another myth. She was drinking. He was drinking. If someone is intoxicated to the point their judgment is impaired, guess what? They cannot legally or ethically consent. Here's the real accountability moment. If someone is too intoxicated to drive, they're too intoxicated to consent. Period. That's it. That's it. That's a tough one for a lot of people. Consent has to be enthusiastic. Here's another myth. She went back. One of the previous episodes I had was talking about trauma bonding. Trauma bonding is real. Okay, attachment does not invalidate harm at all. Abuse often exists inside a cycle. Okay, that cycle goes like this: harm, apology, affection, hope, repeat. Okay, harm, the abuse, whether it's physical, psychological, emotional, sexual. Afterwards, there's the apology. And it's heartfelt. Oftentimes it's heartfelt. And then there's affection. And then the person being abused, that creates hope for them. This person can change. They can love. They can change. And then it repeats. returning does not erase violation. Okay. It often reflects emotional dependency, and all that is shaped by trauma. Understand that. Another myth. This one is starting to get a little bit more attention, but it is so enraging when I hear somebody say this. She was wearing that. Fuck you. And that state of thought. Guys, and I've had to say this to myself, okay? I have a daughter, okay? Clothing is not a contract. We don't live in the fucking 1930s, or the 90s for that matter. Attraction does not equal access, okay? I'm sorry. Fashion is expression. That's it. There, in no way is it an invitation. That belief needs to continuously be dismantled. Like I said, I think it's starting to be dismantled, but boy, I still hear it. Okay, we don't need to defend this belief anymore. It's any of these beliefs, but nevertheless. So why does all this matter? We spend time here, guys, because culture survives on half-truths. It really does. And when myths aren't dismantled clearly, people hide inside of them. Consent is not complicated. Accountability is uncomfortable. Sorry, it is. But discomfort, and I'll say it over and over again, is where growth begins. That is all. All right, this week, the challenge: consent in action and not in theory, guys. Now we stop talking about culture. Now we talk about you, because consent doesn't change in theory. It changes in behavior, right? So one step at a time. Here's your challenge. And I want this to feel, if it feels uncomfortable, you have succeeded. I want this to feel uncomfortable, but I want it to feel uncomfortable in a productive way. Challenge part 1, audit your reaction to no. This week, I want you to pay attention to one thing. When someone tells you no, it doesn't have to be about sex. It's about anything. How does your body react? Pay attention to that. Can you take out the trash? No. How did you react to that? Can we go out to dinner tonight? No. How did you react to that? Can I get a raise? No. How did you react to that? It could be anything. Just listen to your body. How did it react? Not just what you thought, but your body. When your partner says, not tonight, I don't want to, I need space, I disagree. Any of those. Did you withdraw? Did you get quiet? Did you feel rejected? Did you go right into trying to convince? Did you turn cold? Mean? Did you make a joke to deflect? Or did you push a little more? Be honest with yourself. You don't have to share it with me. I'd love if you did. But you don't have to. Professionals will tell you this. Coercion often doesn't look like force. It looks like pressure. And pressure doesn't always look loud. I promise you. So pay attention to that, because sometimes it can look like dramatically sighing. Oh gosh, I know we've done it. I know us, and I'm talking to you men too, the manly men. I know you sighed dramatically, like you were on Broadway. Don't do it. It also looks like pouting. I already said this. Don't fucking pout. But it can look like acting distant, making someone feel guilty for having boundaries. I've pouted before. Don't be mad that I'm saying stop fucking pouting. I've pouted before, and I know how ridiculous it is now. That's why I want you to do this, because if you really pay attention to it, I think you'll find how ridiculous it is. But we're not here to be perfect, because no one is. This week, your job is not to be perfect. I just want you to notice. When we start noticing or having awareness, that's where accountability begins. Uncomfortable, but good. Here's part 2 of the challenge. There's there's a part two. Practice one clear consent exchange. If you're in a relationship and it's safe to do so, I want you to practice one clear, enthusiastic consent moment with your partner. And I mean verbal. Something like, do you want this? Is this good for you? Do you want to keep going? And then wait. If it feels awkward, good. Make it fun. That awkwardness is growth happening in real time. The more you normalize clarity, the less space there is for confusion. Okay? Ugh, I say okay a lot. I got to stop doing that. And then challenge part 3. I know what you're thinking. Dude, 2 wasn't enough? No, we're going to do part 3. We're going to call out a cultural myth. This is for everyone, men and women. This week, when you hear a rape joke, a she wanted it comment, a men can't help themselves excuse, this one is probably the one you'll hear before any of those. Boys will be boys. Whew. I'm sorry, that's just a dismissal. If you hear it, any of these or anything that sounds culturally close to one of the myths that we talk about, or any myth that you believe exists, interrupt it. You ain't got to be aggressive about it, okay? You can, but you shouldn't. Don't. I'm sorry. That's wrong. Don't be aggressive about it. Just be clear about it. That's not true. That's not how consent works. Or that's not how that shit works. Or just one thing that is really powerful is looking somebody dead in the eye and go, we're better than that. Right? We're better than that. Culture changes when normal people stop laughing along. Have you ever done that uncomfortable laugh? While all along thinking, I'm fucking uncomfortable as hell. This is stupid. Why am I not saying something about it? Right? We've all done that laugh. Culture will change when we stop laughing. When we just say, yeah, look, we're better than that. Let's mind our P's and Q's here. Yes? Our fashion tie-in this week is Denim Day. He's talking about Denim Day. Let's talk about it. In the 1990s, in Italy, a rape conviction was overturned because the court argued that the victim's tight jeans implied consent, that she must have helped remove them because they were tight. Let that sink in for a second. Don't excuse it. Don't be that guy, okay? However, the world responded. Women in the Italian parliament wore jeans to protest. Tight-ass jeans. Loose-ass jeans, too. They just wore jeans. That movement became Denim Day, a global reminder that clothing never equals consent, no matter what. Fashion, in this sense, became protest. Denim, in this sense, became accountability. And here's the deeper point. When a system protects entitlement, people use visibility to fight it. Now that is powerful shit. This was a good day. We talked about how consent isn't complicated. Culture made it complicated. Ego made it complicated. Entitlement, silence, those things made consent complicated. But at its truest core, it's so fucking simple. It's as simple as, do you want this? Yes or no. And if it's not a clear yes, it's a fucking no. If it's anything other than a yes, it's a no. We don't get to rewrite that because we're dating, because we're married, because one of us paid for dinner, because it's been a while. It's been a while. Because we feel rejected. Autonomy does not expire inside a relationship. And if you're listening and thinking, I didn't know, I didn't see it that way, good. Growth starts here. Remember something important, guys. Healing does not mean we become perfect. It means we become more aware. And awareness creates much safer rooms, safer relationships, safer intimacy. And that's the world you and I are trying to build together, or trying to construct, or trying to mold. Not a world where people are afraid of each other, but a world where no is okay to say. No. And yes, get this, actually means yes. You don't become a better partner by defending yourself. You become a better partner by becoming safer. That is strength. It really is. Strength isn't dominance or pressure or entitlement. Safety is strength. And listen to me clearly here. You're never going to be fully healed. None of us are. But that's not the goal. The goal is progress. The goal is choosing growth over ego, clarity over comfort, integrity over image. That's where happiness lives, not in perfection, but becoming safer than you were yesterday. And to the men who are willing to listen, we change culture one honest decision at a time. And I'm out of time. Until then, take care of yourself, and I will see you on the path.
Thank you so much for walking with me today. If this episode resonated with you, visit the website at walkwithmepod.com. You'll find resources and links to support organizations that may be helpful to you or someone you care about. You can also connect with me on social media. All the links are on the show notes and our website. And if you feel compelled, reach out. Your reflections, questions, and stories are always welcome. And some may be shared in future follow-up episodes with your permission, of course. If you believe in what we're building here, please take a moment and rate and review the podcast. It helps the message reach more people who may need it. And if someone came to mind while you were listening, consider sharing this episode with them. That's how this walk continues. Until then, take care of yourself. Psst, this part is super important, my friends. I want to be very clear about something. I am not a licensed therapist, a counselor, a psychologist, or a medical professional. The content shared on Walk With Me is based on personal experience, research, education, and lived perspective, not professional or clinical advice. This podcast is intended for educational, reflective, and community-based conversation only. It is not a substitute for professional mental health care, medical treatment, legal advice, or crisis intervention. If you are in immediate danger, experiencing a crisis, or need professional support, please contact emergency services or a licensed mental health professional or a trusted support organization right away. Resources and hotlines are listed in the show notes and on walkwithmepod.com. Listening to or participating in this podcast does not establish my therapeutic, professional, or client relationship between you and I. My goal here is to open conversations, challenge harmful patterns, and offer insight and hope. But your safety, healing, and care deserve qualified, professional support when needed. Please take care of yourself